Today is a free and easy day for us in Lhasa as our cars are shipped to Golmud and we will take a train over instead. I started the morning exploring the world's highest altitude wonder plaza, which is located in Lhasa. It has all the amenities of a modern town, but as you can see, there isn't a lot of footfall. Is this a clear indication of the slowing China economy? Well, we shall see. In the evening, we took a cab over to Tianhai Night Market. There were many mobile phone shops as well as food establishments selling barbecued meats. You select your meat from the display and they would barbecue it up for you. We bought some fruits to make sure that we get our essential nutrients. Electric scooters are everywhere in China and the air quality is definitely better. We saw a promising restaurant and popped in for dinner. Lhasa beer, which is brewed at the roof of the world. The pork trotters was double boiled to perfection with the skin falling off the bones. I also had my favorite large intestines as well as a wonton in red chili oil. Although it was early, it was time to head back as we have a very long train ride tomorrow. Now that we have accomplished driving from Singapore to Tibet and Mount Everest, the next part of our journey will bring us from Lhasa, Tibet, all the way to Beijing. We started our day waking up at 5 a.m. and this whole journey by train is gonna take more than 19 hours before we reach our hotel. Our original plan was to drive from Lhasa to Golmud. However, this journey by car is treacherous, which I will explain later in this video, so we decided to take the scenic Qinghai Xizang Railway instead. We booked a sleeper cabin which allows 4 people to sleep on bunk beds. However, you can tell that space is a luxury. The Qinghai Tibet Railway, also called the Xizang Railway as well as the Lhasa Express, is a railroad built on the roof of the world. It is the longest plateau railway with the highest altitude in the world. It is higher than the Peruvian Railway in the Andes, which was formerly the world's highest railway. This railroad also produced many engineering marvels as well as world records. The railway is built on permafrost, which is a mixture of soil and ice that typically remains frozen all year round. This threatens the stability of the foundation for railway tracks. It is the first and still the only railway through the hinterland of Tibet. Considering the limitations of space and how high altitude can affect taste buds, the food on this train was surprisingly tasty. The total length of this train journey is 1,956 kilometers, and at the highest point, it reaches 5,000 meters. This train ride takes us across many renowned scenic spots such as the Kunlun Mountains, Tuo Yangtze River, and the Tanggula Mountains. This is the start of the Tuo Yangtze River. You can tell that the mighty river started from these little streams, which is simply mind-blowing. Transport infrastructure on this Tibetan plateau prior to this railroad was extremely limited. Before 1949, Tibet had only 1 kilometer of road for automobile travel. And therefore, in the 1950s, the Chinese government decided to connect Lhasa with other parts of China. Construction of the Golmud-Lhasa section of the Qinghai Tibet Railway started in 2001 and that lasted for 6 years. Finally, after more than 19 hours, we reach our destination of the Golmud railway station. And at the hotel, I am reunited with my car. My car was sent over by a car carrier more than 3 days ago due to the challenging road conditions. It has been an extremely long day and it's past midnight, but it was all worth it. On day 27 of our Singapore to Beijing drive, we are going to attempt to cross the Gobi Desert from Golmud, and this is going to be 260 kilometers. As we march towards the Gobi Desert, the landscape grows drier and drier. Our first sightseeing stop of the day is the Karhan Salt Plains, which is located in Karhan town of Golmud city in the High Sea Mongolian Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. At its lowest point, this salt lake is more than 2,200 meters above sea level. The green color of the lake is due to the chemical composition of the water. It presents itself as a different shade under different lighting conditions. This looks like a typical beach, but it isn't. This is actually salt. This is salt crystal. Absolutely salty. Whoa. The Karhan Salt Lake is the world's second largest and China's largest salt lake. From its eastern point to its western point, it is more than 160 kilometers long. Imagine this is 5 times wider than the width of Singapore. Driving at high altitudes and fighting strong crosswinds took a heavy toll on our fuel consumption. In fact, most of us were having range anxiety as our fuel reserve has already lit up and we were scrambling to find a petrol station. You can see the Mars-like alien landscape formed over millions of years on the desert. We couldn't resist exploring deeper and deeper into the open space with our four-wheel drive vehicles. However, exploring deep into the desert is not without its risk. These areas have no mobile and data connectivity, and GPS doesn't work that very well. You actually need a compass to help you find your bearings. It also doesn't help that all the structures look the same after a while. What might look like hard sand from a distance could actually be soft, loose sand that can trap you within seconds if you are not mindful. The steep horizontal and vertical incline can easily capsize the car if you are not careful. We had to come out of our cars to recce the terrain ahead of us to make sure there are no sudden dips before we proceeded further. Our view of the area is heavily obstructed by all these tall structures many times higher than our cars. As such, we could end up going round in circles without actually realizing it. At one point, we panicked because it seems like we have passed by that same structure a couple of times, which indicates that we might be lost. Thankfully, with our drones up in the sky giving us an aerial view of the landscape, we could quickly tell which is the general direction we need to head towards. With all the fun over, it is time to head to our resting place for this evening. The Lonely Space Hotel is a very interesting concept with different kinds of accommodations at different prices. We chose to stay in these Martian spaceports arranged in the likeness of the Star of David. It is my privilege to drive my car all the way from Singapore to the Gobi Desert and spend a night here among these alien landscapes. The view gets even better at night when all these spaceports are lit up, so stay tuned. You would think these tiny spaceports would have sparse amenities, but have a look. They managed to cram in a bathtub, toilet, sink, a king-size bed, TV, as well as 2 chairs and tables and a wardrobe space. It is time for dinner, and we celebrated the birthday of one of our participants as well as one of our Chinese guides. When night fell, I took the opportunity to launch my drone up for a massively beautiful view of these spaceports.